Facebook that we're starting.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Let's see if we have anyone. Anyone?
Don't know if there'll be anyone still here 25 after. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did you have a busy morning?
Yeah. Oh, I can see some people here already. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, guys. I have a special guest for you. Ask you questions. Any immigration question. We have a professional with us today. We are so lucky. Hi, Mary Njoki. Welcome so much. Today, we are having a special guest, guys. She's going to be explaining everything all rounded around immigration, how to process your papers, how to know the right agent, what to look out for. That's okay.
I had a big truck outside.
So Elsie is saying, hi, Mary. Everyone's saying hi to you.
Hi there. I can't see the comments, everyone, so just so you know, let me just flip my screen and see if I can get some of these. Oh, this is nice. Hi. How lovely.
Yeah, they're saying, yeah. I don't want to put them up because I want them to see your where they can subscribe.
I found a section in the screen here that will give me the comments, so I can actually see.
Okay.
I can hear.
Welcome from.
I can't reply. Everyone, just so you know, I can see your comments, but I can't reply to them. So just so you're aware.
Yeah, that's okay.
I got Mary and Elsie and Kikembo from Saudi. I spent quite a long time in Saudi. Hi, how are you? Elsie? Oh, it's fun. It's great. Namibia. Wow, what an international crew today. How fantastic. Okay. So my name is Rowan Fisher, and I'm an immigration lawyer in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I own a small law firm called Fisher Law, and we do everything from business law to business immigration law to anything for student visas, work permits. Basically, we have a full service immigration shop. And we also do refugee work as well. So I work closely with sponsors in Canada who are sponsoring refugees. So once they have the sponsorship set up, then I help the sponsors in Canada deal with the Canadian government and all the processes that need to happen with the Canadian government. So today, when I was talking to Cynthia, well, actually last week, we were talking about, what this could be about. And she said that there were lots of questions about working with an immigration professional. So we're going to kind of focus that way. I don't give a lot of advice over these kinds of platforms because usually lawyers will need a lot more information. We need to look at your documents. We need to speak to you about the situation in order to give proper advice. So my duty of care as a lawyer is to ensure that I have all the correct information before I give you legal advice. So I will not be commenting on individual situations today. We're going to try and keep this fairly general, but I know Cynthia can put up my contact details for you. My Facebook is Fisher Law. My Instagram is Fisher Law Immigration. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well, so you can find me there as well. If you have any questions after, if you want to book a consultation, you can also go to our website and we can help you with your individual issues there. But for today, let's try and keep a little more general. This talk is, entitled, how can an immigration professional help you? So I guess we'll start with what the difference is between the different kinds of professionals that might be able to assist you where you are. So outside of Canada, you may have lawyers and you may have people who call themselves consultants. Now, remember that lawyers have gone through certain amounts of training, they've gone certain amounts of schooling in order to be what they are and be able to do what they can do. Anyone in the world can call themselves a consultant. Anyone. I can walk into Kenya, sit down, put a board up and say, I'm a consultant. I will help you get to Canada. So you need to be very, very careful about who you're dealing with, okay? Especially in your own countries, especially outside of Canada, where people might not have the same experience with the legislation and with the laws of Canada. Inside Canada, we also have people who claim to be consultants, but who are not. So you still have to be careful, even if they say they're inside Canada or if they're Canadian. You want to make sure you check their credentials, because there are only two groups of people in Canada who can legally give you advice about your immigration situation, okay? So these are RCICs, Registered Canadian Immigration Consultants. They will have RCIC after their name on their websites, on their Instagram, on their LinkedIn. And these people have taken a training course. So they come from varied backgrounds, often come from many other countries, but have taken a course in Canada to train them to be immigration consultants. So you want to make sure the person that you're dealing with, if you're dealing with someone inside Canada, is at the very least an RCIC, okay? That also means they are registered with their governing body, and their governing body is the ICCRC, and they are the overseers. They are the ones who present the information for the courses. They're the ones that sort of moderate what the rules are for immigration consultants, what rules immigration consultants have to follow. And then in Canada, there's also lawyers. And there's lawyers that are immigration lawyers, and there's lawyers that aren't. There's criminal lawyers, there's corporate commercial lawyers, there's all kinds of different lawyers. And then some of us focus our practice on immigration law. Okay, so we have gone through an undergraduate degree. We've gone through and taken then on top of that a 3-year law degree as well. And then we have focused our professional development and professional studies and training in immigration. Okay, so we have a very different duty of care. We have a different governing body than our CICs. We have very severe penalties for misbehaving or for treating clients badly or for running our firms inappropriately. We can also represent clients in different places than our CICs. So lawyers can represent clients at federal court, and immigration consultants mostly deal with paperwork, but some of them also go to the hearings. There are hearings inside Canada with the Immigration and Refugee Board, and some immigration consultants also have experience in presenting hearings. The difference between the training of an immigration consultant, an RCIC, and a lawyer is the law. So although RCIC training does have information about the legislation, the biggest one being the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, the IRPA, we call it IRPA, but they don't have a lot of training in case law and what happens in court and what the courts have decided on certain issues. So, for example, if someone presents at our office and says, I'm having problems, I've had my study permit refused 3 times. Okay. So first of all, of course, we look at the past applications. So we look at all the applications that were done before. And then we look at the letters that were written, because the letters that are written, both the cover letter and the plan that the student has to have very, very specific things in it in order for the government to believe that this is a true application and that, of course, the person is going to leave Canada after the end of their temporary stay as a student. or that they're looking for a postgraduate work permit, they have dual intent, and they're looking on staying in Canada to pursue maybe a master's or work in their field for a little while in Canada. But also in those letters, we can put information from case law. We can say, you know, this application was refused last time based on this. But in the courts of Canada, they have stated that you cannot refuse an application on that basis. Okay, so we tend to have lawyers tend to have a lot of training in case law, in the laws of Canada, not just the legislation and where the laws are coming from, but the case law as well. So that's just the differences in people. No matter who you deal with, do your research. Don't just use them because somebody down the road says, oh, that person does immigration, right? Try and get some references. Try and know someone who's used them before. And if you don't know anyone who's used them before and you can't get a reference for anyone, interview them. They are working for you. You are paying them money for a service. And it doesn't matter whether this is a consultant in your own country, a Canadian RCIC, or a Canadian immigration lawyer. It doesn't matter. Interview them like you are giving them a job, because you are. And they have to be able to answer all your questions. So this is why consultations are really, really important, not just for the person who is the professional, not just for the person who's providing the information for you to find out more about you and to see if they are able to help you, but also what a consultation does is allow you to interview them. Do they sound like they know what they're talking about? Have they given you some information, some resources, some really, really good tips or tricks? Have they made suggestions on what you could do on your own? Right? Lots of these documents can be started by you. They are designed for normal human beings to be able to fill out. Now, some people don't have the time. Some people find the documents very confusing, and I get that, and it's great to have help. But it's also great to work together with an immigration consultant, not just throw everything at them and pay them $1 million. Which brings me to price. Be very careful how much you're spending on this stuff, okay? The more money you are spending does not mean you are getting a better product. It does not increase your possibility of getting into Canada because you've paid $20,000 for someone to do your PR application. That's not how this works, okay? There are no guarantees. If anyone says, I guarantee I will get you into Canada, run away fast. Don't do it, okay? We can't. We are not the decision makers. Lawyers are not decision makers. RCICs are not decision makers. Consultants in your own countries are not the decision makers. The only decision makers are the government of Canada. We cannot, as providers of information and provisions of help for your documentation, for letter writing, for solving problems, actually decide on that problem. We can't. So there are no guarantees. So careful on the money you are paying. Often, if you are paying 5 times the going rate, like if you do your research, if you go online, people are starting, like myself and other lawyers, to put prices up on their websites. How much approximately? It's usually from, because we give a base rate, because some situations are more complicated, will take more time, need a lot more work than others. So for Fisher Law, we put our base rate, just so you have a ballpark of where you're starting at. Other firms say, this is the amount, we don't charge more or less than that. Other firms say approximately, but at least you'll get an idea. So if someone comes along and charges you 4 times the amount of what a Canadian lawyer would charge you for the same service, run away quickly. Don't use them, okay? It's not going to get you a better service, and they're ripping you off. Okay, I will unequivocally say if it is 4 times the price of a Canadian lawyer for you to get your documents done, you are being ripped off. So be very, very careful. Do your research, conduct interviews, be careful with your money. I'll stop there for a moment before we continue on. Cynthia, is there anything that you want to ask or anything that your people want to ask?
So, guys, please ask your questions to Rowan Fisher. They are based in Calgary. So any immigration question, please make sure to ask about it so that she can answer. She's more professional and knows everything. She does everything from PR to applications for jobs in Canada, whether you're inside or outside Canada. She deals with refugees and all that. Please, guys, ask any questions. So my question is, how long have you guys practiced and what experience do you guys have? Have you been able to bring people over to Canada? How was the process? How long did it take? You know, approximately how much for a regular case? How much did it cost? Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So we just opened Fisher Law in January, during COVID. That's when we opened Fisher Law. So we as Fisher Law have not brought anyone through into Canada at this point. It's only been 8 months and we have COVID. So we haven't been doing a lot of bringing people in. We've been doing lots of applications of all different kinds that have all been sent in, but nothing at this point has been decided, and certainly no one has flown in yet. Okay, so we are a new immigration firm here. I myself was called to the bar in 2007. Okay, my other lawyers, my business lawyer was his call was 2000, and he's an internationally trained lawyer from India. He's dual qualified in India and Canada. He was called in 2011 in India, so 10 years ago, and then he passed his NCAs. I think it was 3 years ago in Canada. So he's been practicing in Canada for 3 years. We have a new lawyer, a brand new lawyer coming on board in August. Our business coordinator and paralegal has been in the profession for 25 years. We do all kinds of things, like you said. We do anything from study permits to work permits to all kinds of permanent resident applications, whether that's through sponsorship, whether that's through the express entry system, whether that's through the provincial nominee programs. We also work a lot with businesses and employers to bring business to Canada. And we also work with tech companies, bringing tech companies into Alberta. So we do the whole range, but we do not find people work. So that's something you need to know about lawyers. Lawyers are not recruiters. Lawyers are not job hunters. Lawyers do not have job boards. Okay, our job is to be lawyers. It's not to be recruiters. So we do not find people work. Okay, our job is, once people have work, we help them engage with the Canadian government. We help them find solutions to problems, especially things like inadmissibility, right? So people can be inadmissible for medical reasons. They can be inadmissible for criminality, even if it's just small level criminality. You can be inadmissible because you don't have the right finances that's needed for a particular program. So that's the inadmissible side, but also eligibility. Are you eligible for a program? So when we do our consults with clients, we say, hey, who are you? What is your background? This program says you have to have worked for this many years. This program says your English level has to be this high. This program says you have to have this education. So we take you, all of who you are, your education, your language skills, your background, your travel history, your possible personal history, your family history, and we analyze all of that to find the best options for you. So even if someone comes to me and says, I want to enter Canada under express entry in the Federal Skills Worker Program, I'm like, okay, let's look at who you are. Let's look at your background, your education, your work experience, and then we'll put that all together and see, does that fit in the Federal Skilled Worker Program? Now, it might fit perfectly. You might have enough points. As many of you know, a lot of Canadian systems, and especially permanent resident systems, are based on points. So you might have enough points, but maybe you don't. But maybe you have points for another program. Maybe your partner has higher points than you, and actually we shouldn't be applying under you at all. We should be applying under your partner and have them bring you in as a dependent, right? There's all kinds of provincial options. There's all kinds of business options. So even though everyone seems to focus on the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Express Entry program, there are pilots all across, which are short-term policy programs the government implements either to test them out or to fill some kind of gap in the immigration system. So we analyze you. We figure out all these things. So when someone says, how much does it cost for me to come to Canada? Well, it completely depends on you. It depends on the program. It depends on, is this one of the programs takes huge involved amounts of application, or are you coming on a visitor permit? Right? What are you coming in on? This is going to make a huge difference in the cost. So again, like I said, on our website, we have given a list in the fees section. So this is fisher-law.ca. We have all the fees listed, and it's from this amount. So all you do is you look down, you're like, I want a study permit. Go to S, study permit. There's the base rate price for a basic study permit with no problems, no issues, no inadmissibility, no eligibility problems, no big amounts of research and things to need to be done. But then as things get longer and as it takes more of our time and more of our team, then it becomes more expensive. Okay. So it completely depends on you. Okay. Most importantly, right now with COVID, if you're coming in the immigration streams to work, you have to get a job. You have to get a job offer. That is the key. Now, there are some programs you do not need a job offer for. For example, student, you don't need a job offer, right? You don't need a job offer for visitor. You don't need a job offer for sponsorship, right? If you're sponsoring family members, you don't need job offers for that. But if you want to come in and work in Canada, you have to have work. So that takes a lot of effort. And I totally understand that. And especially right now, it takes lots of effort because of COVID. COVID, like every other, Canada, like every other country in the world, has been impacted by COVID. And what that means is that there are a lot of Canadians out of work. Okay, there's lots of people out of work. So again, as many of you know, we have what's called a labor market impact assessment, which employers get done. They get a certificate saying they have it done, and it gives them permission to hire labor from outside Canada. But in order for them to hire labor from outside Canada under an LMIA, they have to advertise in Canada first. So they have to advertise to Canadians first. Once so many weeks have passed by, there's all kinds of criteria for employers with LMIAs, all the different hoops they have to jump through, right? Then they, then once they put that out there in advertising, you'll see them on Indeed. So there's a website called Indeed.com, and that's a very common and also required website for people to advertise LMIA jobs on. So that's a good place for you to start if you're looking for work, is Indeed.com for sure. Okay. Then also, if you're in a particular profession, so let's say you're an engineer or you're a dentist or you're a nurse, right? If you're a professional, you can go and approach your professional equivalent organization in Canada and see if they know recruiters. There are specific recruiters for specific kinds of professions. There are recruiters that only deal with nurses. There are recruiters that deal with dentists or doctors, okay? So it's really good to start communicating with your organization, the governing body in Canada for your profession if you're a professional, okay? If you are not a professional, then a temporary foreign work permit is an idea. Okay, it's a really good way to find a job. Now, it is only temporary. It's not permanent residence, but we do have a path to permanent residence for temporary foreign workers. Now, at the moment, again, because of COVID, people aren't coming in. Okay, Canada is not flying people in for mass amounts of work. You have to be an essential worker. But these keep changing. Okay, as COVID releases a little bit, as things get better, which they are kind of at the moment, Canadian government changes their policies on entry. So it takes a while to get a job offer for a temporary foreign worker. You need a contract for a year. You need an offer of employment for 1 year. Now, after you've done that 1 year, you may be eligible to apply for permanent residence. And this time it's under what's called the Canadian Experience class. So this is also an express entry. There's 3 express entry classes: the Federal Skilled Worker, the Canadian Experience class, and the Federal Trades, okay? Federal Skilled Trades Worker. So if you're a tradesperson, plumber, an electrician, a welder, okay, that kind of carpenter, those kinds of jobs. There's a whole stream just for you for PR. Okay, so remember there's lots of ways to do this, and really speak with someone who's going to assess you, who's going to match you to these programs. So we do an assessment. We talk about price at that time. We generally follow our guide. We do say from, but most people fall within the range of what we've published on our website for sure. We try and match you with the right program, and then we help you to do your applications. Now, applications. Why not try them yourself first? Now, some lawyer friends and other friends think I'm crazy, and some consultants are like, why do you tell people this? You're going to lose money. Your firm's going to lose money. And it's like, well, if you can do part of the work yourself, right? And try the forms, try filling out the forms. You know that information more than we do, right? We have to interview you anyway to get that information for us to put it on the form. I don't know where you worked 4 years ago. I don't know that you traveled to Zimbabwe 5 years ago. I don't know if you've got kids or not. So I have to spend this time, and my time is money. Lawyer time is always money, to interview you, right? To get all this information for us to be able to, put things into forms. Or also we'll send you questionnaires, and questionnaires don't take nearly as much time. And that's something else to look out for when you're working with professionals, is people who actually use some form of questionnaire. It saves a lot of time, which then saves you a lot of money. So just so you're aware of that. So you give us all the information, we put it into the form, or you do it. You put all your information into a form. Now, you might not get it right, and there might be spelling mistakes, and some of it might be missing bits of information. For example, on a lot of these forms, you have to list all of the places you've lived for the past 10 years or since you were 18. If you miss one and there's a gap, IRCC, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, does not like that. We have to fill all the gaps. So sometimes people miss that on their forms, but we can see that once you fill out the form, and then we can say, oh, no, we need something here. What did you do for that year? If you were unemployed, if you were a student, if you had a baby, whatever it is, we need to put something in that space. And same with employment, right? Employment history. A lot of the time people fill out the employment history, but they don't give enough details. They don't have exactly the right name of the company they work for. It's out of order. So IRCC really wants order, right? Really, really wants order. And in my version, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
That's good, because the frozen face on my end is really funny. I don't know if you guys can see the frozen face,
yeah,
but it looks like I just bit into something that tasted really horrible.
Yeah, I see.
Oh my goodness. You just love online world. Well, I'm hoping that stops.
I know. Yeah, I know. I understand.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. As long as you can still hear me, that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. So yeah, so let me just go through here. I'll stop there. So do some of the work yourself if you can. And then you can give it to your immigration professional, and your immigration professional can then make it better for you. And that will save time, which will save money. We also have actually we're putting together this month a actual review service. So it's going to be a separate service from our full service, where actually clients will come to us with all their documents. They'll come to us with all their applications completed. And what we do is we review them. So we go through it step by step with what we call a fine-tooth comb, very, very carefully, okay? And we try to find all of the little tiny problems that IRCC might find. We look for what we call red flags, which are problem areas, things and places on your applications where perhaps officers will question something. And with officers, what we want to do is make their job easy as possible. That's the whole job, really. When I look at applications, I'm like, how can I make this application easy for IRCC to deal with? Easy to read, easy to understand, but also explain stuff. Not all of our lives have gone in a super linear way, right? So my camera's still frozen. So, we've been to lots of places. We've worked lots of jobs. Maybe we didn't work for a long time. I don't know. Maybe we got into trouble when we were young, right? Maybe with the police, or, maybe something we were involved in. And now we're grown up and we regret it, but it's still there, in our history. What we can help with, and a lot of immigration, we can help with, is really to be able to explain the problems to IRCC. You cannot hide things. You cannot not say things. They will find out, right? They have access to everything. They can look at your Facebook and your WhatsApps and your emails. They will interview people around you. They'll interview past employers. They will, do all these things. So I think the easiest thing to do for yourself, and the best thing to do for yourself, is to think about your life honestly, and you honestly, and then craft a really, really good cover letter that explains the problems upfront and directly to the officer. And that way they can see you're being honest, you're being forthright, you're being direct, you're addressing the problem. You know this is a weakness in your application. This can be something really, really big or something really small, but it shows your direct and your honesty, right? And that's what we want to show to an officer 9 times out of 10, okay, is that. Questions? Yes, my camera froze. We can hear you. That's good. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, I'm just going to go back and see if there's any actual questions here. Asylum. Okay, so Samuel's asked a question regarding asylum. So refugee status came from a particular international agreement. It is now embedded in the IRPA, in the Immigration, Refugee, and Protection Act. And it is very specific. Okay, so the first thing for refugee status is you have to be outside of Canada, outside of your home country. Okay, so you cannot claim refugee status when you're inside. You have to have fled persecution. And the definition of persecution includes all kinds of things. It includes torture, and it includes threats to your life, possible harm to your family, all of those kinds of things. Okay. And it can be for, political reasons. This can be because of your race, because of your religion. Okay. There's your nationality. There's very set reasons why you can claim, or how you can claim, refugee status. So it's not as easy as people think, especially from overseas. Now, you can claim refugee status, but that doesn't mean you're going to be granted it. So, for example, people walk through the border between the United States and Canada. Often they're returned back to the United States. Okay. And the reason for that is because we have this thing called the safe third country rule. You're not allowed to enter from the United States because the United States is a safe country and you've already landed there. So you should claim asylum in the United States if you land in the United States. Same with Canada. If you land in Canada and you try and cross the American border and claim asylum, they'll say, nope, you landed in Canada. That is a safe country. You need to stay there and claim asylum there. Now, there are exceptions, including having family members or specific family members in Canada or in the United States. Okay, so if you have family here, then there is an exception for the safe third country rule. And there are a bunch of other exceptions, but you need to know what those are. If you're claiming asylum from overseas, you have to have fled your country of persecution. Okay. So I don't know, Samuel, if that answers all of your questions. But again, if you go into our website, there's a whole section on refugee claimants and refugees, and all the links to IRCC and to refugee information are there. So a lot of details. We don't just put our information on the website. We also put lots of really helpful web links. So if you want questions answered about study permits, go to the study permit section. If you want to open a business in Canada, go to the business section. We have links to all of the Canadian government websites there. And this is another thing to be aware of. I mean, anyone can post anything online in the whole world, right? I can say, I'm Superman. I mean, it doesn't make me Superman, but I can post it online. right? So you also need to be careful with this, because lots of people, immigration professionals, will post things on their website. A lot of the time they don't mean for them to be inaccurate. Maybe they're out of date because the policy has changed. Maybe they just posted something that, you know, they learned and it wasn't quite exactly right. Be careful of people's websites. Always go to the Immigration and Refugee Citizenship Canada website to look. Don't take what people say at face value all the time. Look at the government website. That's what it's there for. It's for people to look stuff up, right? So look things up. Go on now. Go on my website. All I give is little tiny, you know, we just give little tiny backgrounds. This is what a study permit is, or this is what a refugee is, or whatever. But then go into the links. The links to the government websites is where you're really, really going to find the best information. And that goes for anyone's website. You know, we have to update our websites. For those of you who have websites, you know what it's like. You have to update them all the time, right? And if they're not updated, the information is wrong. So just go onto websites, do a good read, but then go on the Government of Canada websites to get the actual information to make sure you're, you know, as knowledgeable as possible. I'm going to try and maybe restart my camera, but I'm not sure how to do this. All right.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not working. Don't know why. All right.
But I can see your face. That's better.
You can see my crazy face?
Yes, I can see your face. I think you can still talk. That's better. That's much better than the blank. Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh, I just ate something really, really horrible. Is much better than the black? Oh, great.
Better than before, yeah. That's better. Better.
All right. I'm just going to give people 2 seconds just to think of a couple of questions. And Cynthia, if you want to think of a couple of questions as well, I'm just going to try and reboot my mic, but I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. So there was a truck driver. Let me see. It seems like she left. She's off. Guys, please ask questions. She's a professor. Everything. I saw someone with a truck driver. A truck driver. Let me see. Yeah, I will ask her. She's a bit off, but I think, guys, she's doing a really great job to enlighten us about finding the right agent, you know, to help you process your papers. She's based in Calgary. She has an office in Calgary. So I'll leave everything. I'll leave the links down below. I'll leave everything so that you can contact her directly for everything. Let me see there. I'm a truck driver and forklift operator in Nairobi, and I want to come to Canada for the same. Okay, I see your question.
I think I'm back. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hooray! Okay. I just wanted to reboot it because I was stuck. And so I was like, I couldn't really communicate with you guys. All right. Let me have a look here.
Yes.
How can I come to Canada? Okay, forklift operator. So George,
yes.
with regarding forklift operator. George. So that's a federal skilled trade.
And a truck driver.
Okay, so federal skilled trade would come under the express entry under federal skilled trades. Okay, there's a whole stream for people like forklift operators, right? And truck drivers. So have a look under the federal skilled trade. That's where you want to look at the criteria. Now, I'm not sure about forklift operator, but there are many, many skills that need to be certified in Alberta. So you come to Alberta, for your job, you get your job in advance, you come to Alberta, and then you certify. Okay. Now, you do often have to have certifications in your home country. So you have to actually not just be, I'm a forklift driver, but here I have my certificate that says I'm allowed to use heavy machinery or whatever it is. But all the criteria for each federal skilled trade is slightly different because they have different governing bodies. So you have to go in and look at your job and see what is my job compared to the job that does wanted in Canada. Okay. But forklift operators and truck drivers, skilled worker or federal skilled trades. It depends on whether your job fits into those criteria. So what you need to do is assess your background, your experience, and see if it matches either something in the federal skilled worker or something in the federal skilled trades. Okay, so that's how you do that for truck driver. How can you come to Canada from Canada as unskilled employees? Right. Okay. So that is you would come mostly through as a temporary foreign worker. Okay. So you get a job from a company, a factory, a farm, depending, what kind of job you're interested in and what you think you can do. And you apply for work with a company that has an LMIA. So people talk about like LMIA visas. There's no such real thing as an LMIA visa for temporary foreign workers. It's the employers that have the LMIA, and the employees are applying to LMIA companies that have LMIAs. Okay. So that's as an unskilled worker, that is your best bet, right? Is to look on Indeed.com, look for jobs that you think you can do or you have some experience in, apply for those jobs. And these people will need to have LMIAs. Okay, the employer has to have an LMIA. They have to be approved by the Canadian government to hire a temporary foreign worker. You get the job, you come to Canada, and then you work for a year in that job, and then you might be eligible for the Canadian Experience class. So that was for Pauline. Let me just see. How can I get a school in Canada for elderly people? Okay, this is challenging. Getting a study permit, if you're over sort of whatever the normal age is for university, is very challenging. Now, it doesn't make it impossible. It's just harder. Okay, so the trick is with any program, regardless of your age, you want the program to match your interests and your background. If you're older, this is especially important. When you're younger, you don't have an interest in a background. You just want to go study some stuff, right? When you're older, you may have a career already. You might have other education behind you already. So what, again, IRCC is looking for is a fit. Okay, so they're looking for, does this person's background, experience, etc., fit the program they want to take? So if I'm an accountant in South Africa, okay, great. Well, then what you probably want to do is try and get a job as an accountant in Canada or in the accounting arena. You might not be able to be an accountant because there's very specific qualifications that you have to have in Canada, but you might be able to come and work for an accounting firm, then get your Canadian credentials, and then become an accountant in Canada. But if you were an accountant and then you're going to go and do your master's in engineering, they'll be like, what's the fit? I don't understand the fit. Why is this person wanting to be an engineer when they're an accountant? Like, they're obviously not going to be an engineer. They don't have an engineering degree. So you have to really explain. And this, again, where a really, really well-crafted letter is important, especially if you fall what we call outside the box, right? IRCC has a box. Everyone fits in this box. If you don't fit in the box, they don't want you. Not always true. We can convince them, right? We can make a really good effort. So again, this is an area that a lawyer is really good at. We're trained in writing. We write at a very high level. We know what IRCC is looking for. We know what the tests are that have come out of case law to present your case to IRCC on your application. So you could do all the paperwork, get us to review your paperwork, and then just pay us to write the letter. So you have a really, really good letter. And that'll save you thousands of dollars, right? Lots and lots of money. But yeah, it is harder when you're older, but if there's a really good fit, for example, clients who are in, digital media, for example, and they do digital media in their home country, and they want to come here and they want to do a master's in digital media because they know if they do that here, it'll increase their income and their seniority and their promotions in their company, in their home country. So they'll come here to get a master's so that they can really, really push their career in their home country. And that's a very nice fit, right? IRCC looks at that and goes, yeah, this person's a professional in an area. They did their bachelor's degree years ago in the area. They've worked in that area ever since. They now want to do a master's for their own professional development. So in their home country, they can do even better and be more successful. That's a good fit for an older student. So again, it's all about crafting fit. It's all about trying to find how you match a program and making sure the program matches you well. Okay, so don't get too stuck on, I want to come to Canada this way. Well, but what if that way doesn't work out for you? What, then you don't want to come to Canada at all because you don't want to do the program? Like, no. If you want to come to Canada and hang out in Canada for a while, to work for a while, to visit for a while, to study for a while, we need to find a way for you to be able to do that. And that might be a completely different path than whatever it was your cousin did, or whatever it was your sister did, or your daughter, or whoever it is that's been to Canada and is giving you all the advice in the world, right? Be careful. There's lots of ways to do these things. So try and be flexible. How can we know the genuine agent who can help process papers? You don't, right? It's very, very difficult. If you're not using an RCIC or if you're not using a Canadian lawyer, it's very, very challenging because there's no oversight bodies. There's no one watching and penalizing them if they do bad things. So they do bad things, they just steal all your money. So it's very hard. So I'll go back to what I said at the beginning of the chat because lots of people, came in afterwards, which is interview them, right? Ask the right questions, interview, ask them questions about you. And are they asking you questions? Or are they just like, yep, here, give me your passport. Okay. How are you going to do this without knowing more about me? So just be careful of what we call cookie cutter processing. People just process everyone the same way because, you're going to pay these people whether you get into Canada or not, right? So you might as well have someone who kind of knows what you're doing and at least ups your chances a little bit than just going with the first person down the street who hangs their little sign out and says, I'm an immigration consultant. Oh, really? How did you become that, right? So, Cynthia was asking me earlier about my team, what have we done? Where have we been? What have we trained? And we put that all on our website. If you go into our About section, you can see where we've studied. You can see where we've got our degrees from. You can see our life experience. You can see where we've traveled. Most of us work in community, and so we volunteer a lot, and you can see all of that online as well, because we also think that we have to be transparent with you, the client. We have to be able to tell you, what we've done, because otherwise, how do you know? So you have to ask questions. That's the only reason. That's my only answer to that question is ask all the questions. How can I get a secondary school for my son? I'm a preschool teacher self with 5 years experience. Yeah, your kids can go to school. If you come to Canada, if you get permission to come to Canada and you work in Canada, your kids can go to elementary and secondary school. Absolutely. The way it's set in most cities, it depends on the city how secondary schools work, but most of them are linked to your postal code. So we have a public school system in Canada. It's paid for by our taxes. And there's schools all over in the neighborhoods. And you arrive to Canada, you live in a certain place, and you register your children for the school. You provide your immigration documents. You say, yes, we're here. And your child goes to school. There's no issues with children going to school in Canada. All children can go to school. So you get yourself here, your son can go to school here. That's not an issue at all. What about when you've done a bachelor's and have never worked in a particular area and you wish to migrate? What sort of visa do you get? Well, it depends how long you've been working, what you've been working in, what your skill set is, what your English level is. What level of job are you doing? Are you doing a professional level job? Are you doing a laborer level job? Are you doing hospitality? There's lots of variables on that question. So I can't really answer what visa you would get because I don't know what you do. But it's more challenging because, you know, they like to fit, right? So you have to think, what would the perfect application be? The perfect application, you're the perfect age, right? You're not losing any points on age. You speak really fluent English. You're a professional. You've been in that profession and you're educated in that profession. That's like the ultimate. That's like the gold standard of applications. Everything else that falls away from that, outside of that box, needs explanation, needs extra documents, needs to make sure it's explained well. You know, most of us don't fit in those boxes. Most applications do not fit into the golden star box. It just doesn't, because we're not all like that. So we just need to find ways to do it. So though your bachelor's is in something, at least you have a bachelor's, that's going to give you points, right? Having an undergraduate degree gives you points, and that's fantastic, right? So the more education, the better your English, the better the fit, the better off you are. But if there's anything that is outside the box, that's okay. We're mostly all outside the box. No problem. We'll just find sort of ways around it if we can. Sometimes it's very simple as you can't apply right now. Your English is too low. Take some English lessons. Bring your English up. Get your points. It's amazing what a difference English can make. It's a huge amount of points. So get your English high so you've got the points, right? We can't change our age. So we're going to lose points or gain points on our age. There's nothing we can do about that. But we can do things about maybe our education. Maybe this year is not a great time to apply because you don't have enough certifications, right? Maybe you're a tradesperson, but you're not a certified tradesperson. So maybe for the job in Canada, when you look it up, it says you need to be certified in your own country for that particular trade. Well, maybe you need to spend a year getting that certification in your own country, because that will then up your status within the application to come to Canada the following year. So there's all kinds of like ideas, solutions, possibilities that we can try and help you come up with. Even if it's not the right time to apply for you, there's still things you could be doing in the coming year so that next year when you apply, you're at a different level. So don't give up hope just because you shouldn't apply right now. But we always try and find solutions, and we always try and give some kind of suggestions. So in your own countries, when you're looking at, you know, consultants and agents or anyone else who's helping you with immigration stuff, say, is this the only way? Ask them, is there anything else I can do? What else can I do? Because they should be giving you suggestions. If they are professionals, truly professionals, they should know what they're doing and be able to give you some help, any kind of help. They might not be able to do the application, but they should be able to give you some ideas on how that might work in the future for you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Home care workers, the situation with home care workers changes regularly. There are programs for home care workers. It depends on what you mean by that. Okay. So there's people who take care of children. There's people who take care of adults. You have to have experience and you have to be certified. So we'd have to look at who you are. Do they qualify? Generally, are there programs for caregivers? There are programs for caregivers, and you can look on the IRCC website or just Google caregiver IRCC, and you can look at the programs that are there for caregivers. Yes, there are programs for caregivers. Are there security guard jobs? I don't know, because I'm not a recruiter and I'm not a job hunter. So I don't know the answer to that at the moment. There might be, there might not. You have to go on Indeed.com or Monster.ca or a recruiter's website and see what the situation is with jobs. It's just not something lawyers do. We don't find jobs for people. Automotive service technician, again, that sounds like it might fall into the trades class. So it's federal skilled trades. So you want to see what the qualifications are for that. We'd have to check your qualifications, your certificate. It's the same story. No matter what you want to come to Canada, we want to check your education, your experience, your English level, and your background, right? All the time. We really need to check all of those things on a regular basis, no matter why you're coming in. So yes, the automotive service technicians, we have them here. We have auto shops. They do employ people to do that. And so, yes, there would be migration for that. Absolutely. It would just be finding the right program for you. When do you think federal skilled worker draws will resume? Yeah, it's a very good question, and I have no answer for you. I don't. I really don't. We keep thinking. Yes. So the COVID numbers started dropping in Canada about a month and a half ago. Restrictions have started lifting in Canada slowly across. Different provinces have different lifts. They're all kind of in charge of their own provinces. There's some federal mandates, but a lot of it's provincial. And of course we lifted, and then everyone started seeing each other again. And now we have the Delta variant in Canada, and now the Delta variant is taking hold in Canada again, and our numbers are rising again. So everyone had this great hope, that our vaccination program, was working really well, that, but we still have lots of people who aren't vaccinated yet. Lots, So where is it going to go from here? I don't know. We keep thinking we're getting out of this, and then we end up getting back in, just like every other country. So I'm so sorry, Caroline. I have no idea. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I think you addressed it, but it's about nannies. I get that question a lot.
About money?
The nanny, people who take care of small children.
About caregivers? Yeah.
The caregivers for kids, not for elderly, for kids.
Okay, let me just bring up today's updates. See what's going on with caregivers today in Canada. Okay, so they're called home child care providers. Okay, so that is the sort of technical term.
Mm-hmm.
The pilot is now closed for 2021. So they got all the applications. It was a pilot program, which meant it was a short-term program to get caregivers into Canada. They were closed. It's going to reopen on January 1st, 2022. Okay, so at the beginning of the year. What else have we got? Okay, so the pilot's closed until January. Mm-hmm. Let me just see if there's anything else. Live-in caregiver is also closed at this point to new applicants. Temporary work for caregivers. You can, as long as your employer applied for an LMIA, so as long as they have their LMIA certificate and they got that before June 18th, 2019. Okay, as long as they applied for their LMIA before June 18th, 2019, they can hire. The Caring for Children program is closed. Yeah, it looks like most people are going to have to wait until January 1st, 2022 to be able to access that pilot again. The applications are closed.
Also for the elderly is closed, for the old people is closed?
For the moment, the home support, this is called the Home Support Worker Program.
Yeah.
Home Support Worker Program.
Yeah. Is it open or closed?
Yeah. It was open. Let's see how it's doing. Okay. Looks like they're mostly flipping people from temporary foreign workers who are here into permanent residents.
Oh, so is it open for people outside Canada or not?
Doesn't look like it. Let me just double check here. Let me just see. This is not an update. Home support worker. No, it looks like we're okay. So they're not close to reaching the cap for the home support worker permit. You can still apply under the pilot.
Oh.
Yeah. So the child one is closed. The home care support worker is open. So that would be for people with disabilities and for the elderly.
Oh, it's open.
Yeah. So Let me have a look. So if you don't have any work experience, it's very, very difficult. So yeah, you still have to meet the eligibility requirements. You still have to go through the whole process, but they have not reached the maximum amount yet.
Oh, so it's still open.
It's still open.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Esther was asking about it. Esther.
Yeah. So special kids, that's the home support worker. So anyone with disabilities or the elderly, that's the home support worker. And then the child support worker is for those under 18.
So it's still open. Yeah.
Yep.
So Esther, it's still open.
You have to get on the IRCC website. That's all I was doing. I was just checking the policy updates on the Canadian government website just to see today what it says. And that's important to do, right? Because during COVID, things opened and closed. New programs came up, other programs closed, old programs closed. They changed eligibility requirements. So much has changed over this time period that when you're doing this, make sure you're on the IRCC website and you're looking at the most updated. Check the date of any of the information that you're looking at all the time. Okay.
That's important.
Yeah, it is. It's really important to do that. Any other questions? We're at just over an hour.
Someone is asking, how can I apply for provincial nominee program?
Okay, so it depends which province you want to come to. Right now, I think there are 11 open programs. 11. And in those open provinces, they have separate programs inside. So some provinces even have 2 or 3 programs that are available. So it depends on your fit. Okay, so they're called PNP programs. And if you go on the IRCC website, they give you every province and they give you every program. Some have programs for specific people, like tech. Some have regional programs, so not just for major centers like Toronto, Vancouver, but they have, BC has a regional program where you can go and come into other places inside BC. They're all very specific. The Atlantic Immigration, the pilot, is one of the popular programs in Eastern Canada. So it depends. Do you care where you go? This is another big thing, right? Do you mind where you come in Canada? Or you just want to come to Canada for the experience? Right? Do you want to come to Alberta? Do you need to come to Alberta? Or is it okay that you're in Nova Scotia, which is, hours and hours, days and days drive on the other side? It's kind of almost like being in a foreign country. It's way over that way. Canada's a big country. So, you just need to, it's fit for you, right? If you're super flexible and you don't mind where you go, that will open more possibilities for you. If you really, all you want to do is come to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, then you're only going to apply for the Saskatchewan PNP program, right? So we wanted to find fit, and all the programs have different requirements, different English requirements, different certification requirements. Again, it's fit. We take all of your documents, we take everything from you, we have a look at it, and then we present you with ideas. And you make the ultimate choice because it's you and it's your life, and you need to know where you want to be and how you want to do it. So we just help you along the way. We basically guide you along, give you options. And then once you've selected an option, we can help you, then make that option come true. That's what we hope to do for you. Rowan, how can I access your services? Fisher-law.ca. Fisher-law.ca. Did you put it in the chat?
Yes, I'll leave it down there. So that, And then I have, someone was asking, is there a program that you can come without showing proof of funds? You know how they ask proof of funds that
sponsorship. right? If you get one person here, they can sponsor you and you don't need funds to do that.
Okay.
What else? Chef jobs. I don't know what that means.
Yes.
Chef jobs are federal skilled worker or provincial.
Okay.
Home care is still open. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Provincial nominee program is province by province, so you apply to each province. Some of the provinces have interconnected express entry programs with the federal government. So you apply for express entry, but then you show interest in a particular province. And so then you get selected by that province through the express entry program. That's for higher skilled workers. Can you get a job without an ECA evaluation? Not really. I mean, because they want to know who you are and what your education is, right? So it's essential in most cases. I mean, it's like, would you hire someone without knowing what their education is? I don't know what the education is like in other countries, right? Someone can tell me, I have a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, okay, great. Where's it from? This university. Okay, was this university in someone's living room? I don't know, right? So as an employer, why would I want to hire someone who's not proving their education background, right? There's something a little bit like, they're like, why aren't you proving your education? Right? It's like sets of questions. So we don't want questions. We want it to be like, oh, this. We're trying to set up yes every time, right? We're gunning for yes. We want officers to say yes, nod. We want them to read the application and go, perfect, right? That's what we want. So yeah, anything that requires, that mandates, you have to provide it. There's no real way around it. Anyone else? If I missed someone, just type it again, because I'm scrolling up through, trying to make sure. Genuine agents.
Yeah. What about student visas?
Yeah.
Do they require to show proof of funds?
Yep. Yeah, you have to show you can't walk up to Canada to be a student with no money. They want to know, how are you going to live? How are you going to feed yourself? Like, how are you going to feed yourself? Right? How are you going to live in Canada? You have to show them that you can live in Canada, right? They're not going to be like, yeah, please come to Canada, go to university, but what, we're going to fund your apartment? They're not going to do that. It's just not going to happen, right?
And
so yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you have to.
Is it possible to find?
It can be parents. It can be parents. I mean, the money can come from other sources. It doesn't have to be your money. Lots and lots of, especially younger university students, their parents are giving them the money. So all I ask for is copies of their bank statements and their tax documents.
Okay.
So they give me their bank statements. It shows they have the money to pay for the education and to pay for food for their kid. And sometimes tax documents are useful too, if it's a country that provides tax information, right? You want to prove you have money for your kid not to starve to death and not live on the street.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how can they access the some of the designated schools that accept international students? Okay. And I asked.
So the important thing with DLI, so these are designated learning institutions, which we shorten to DLIs. And you'll hear that a lot. Is it a DLI? Is it a DLI? Now, it has to be a DLI.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing a really short-term course that you don't need a study permit for, right? There's little tiny, 1 month fun courses that, people come to take for fun as a visitor to Canada, and you don't need a student permit for those. They don't have to be DLIs because you're just here on a visitor and you're just doing this for fun. If you're going to come on a student permit, you need to go to a DLI. The DLI list is on IRCC website. You Google DLI, IRCC. Boom! All of the schools in Canada, DLI and non-DLI, are sitting there. But the thing that people need to be aware of is not every DLI is allowed to provide postgraduate work permits. Oh. So if you want to come to Canada and be a student and then maybe get a job in your field in Canada, you need to make sure that it is a DLI. So what happens is when you Google it, there's a table that comes up. You can Google your school by name, or not Google. You can type in your in the search bar the school by name, or you can scroll alphabetically, or you can skip pages. Find the school you're interested in. Move your eyes all the way along. It has all these different columns of information. Is it a DLI? Is obviously the most important one for applying for a student permit, study permit. Yes. Move your eyes over to the last one. PGSW, postgraduate work permit, PGWP, right? Yes or no. If you want to work in Canada on a postgraduate work permit, it needs to be a school that provides those. If you go to a DLI that doesn't provide those, you're just going to have to apply for a work permit normally, like everybody else in the world. Whereas if you go to a postgraduate work permit issuing DLI, you can apply very easily for a postgraduate work permit. Okay, it's a fast track. So be aware of that for student permits. But yeah, how can you change a visit visa to a work visa? You get a job. You get a job in Canada and you apply for a work permit. That's how you do it. That's how you change a visit visa to a work. You can't just change it. You get a job from an LMIA offering employer the way everyone else does, and you apply for a work permit. Okay, there's lots of process and procedure in that. There's lots of steps, but I mean, you just apply for a work permit. If you think you can find a job here, you find a job here. Now, you have to leave, mostly.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Because you're on a visitor visa, right?
Yeah.
You are on a visitor visa. And you said, I'm here for a visit, and I'm going to leave the country after 3 months. Here's my ticket. Here's all the stuff that you said on your visitor visa. You have to abide by that. You can't lie to the Canadian government, right? That's called misrepresentation, and it's grounds for inadmissibility. You do not want to be inadmissible. That is a bad state to be in. So do your visitor permit, right? Come here, find a job, negotiate everything with your employers. That's fine. Get out of Dodge, apply for your work permit.
Okay, now from outside, right?
Yeah, I mean, outside is better. Outside is better. Now, again, this is not something I want to advise on without talking to the person. So I'm not really going to say you have to be outside, you have to be inside at this point, because I'm not talking to a client. So I'm not going to advise on that online.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, yeah, that's an individual.
Let's see. Yeah, some of these, I don't know, they're nice in general. It's good. Yeah. Okay. So the question here is, are you a licensed IRCC immigration lawyer? There's no such thing. Okay. In Canada, so maybe Nick, you missed the beginning of our chat when I went through who's who. RCICs are immigration consultants who are certified by the ICCRC, which is their governing body. They are regulated immigration consultants. They have taken a course. They've been taught about immigration, and they are licensed to work immigration in Canada. Okay. This course is about 1.5 years in the evenings. Most people work their other job during the day, and they take the RCIC course in the evenings. Okay. At a community college. And next year it's moving to a university. It's moving to entirely an online program, but it's going to be a university that's actually doing the training. But prior to next year, any RCIC you talk to took a program at a college in Canada that is permitted by the ICCRC. The content was reviewed, what they're learning and how they're learning was all very, very carefully designed. And they have a certificate that they are an RCIC. That's an immigration consultant. Lawyers have nothing to do with consultants. Lawyers go and do an undergraduate degree at university. Then they do a law degree at the university. So they have 2 degrees minimum. Some often have master's degrees and PhDs and all kinds of other things. But minimum for a lawyer, you have an undergraduate degree and a law degree, and then you become a lawyer. Fisher Law is a law firm, and it's very clearly stated on the website, fisher-law.ca, that we are a law firm. Okay, so we are lawyers who have double degrees, who work fully. In my case, in my firm, we only do refugee and immigration law. So we don't practice other kinds of law. Lots of other law firms have immigration as one of the departments in their law firm, but we only practice immigration and refugee law. So what does Fisher Law represent? I'm not sure what that means, but I think it means who are you and what are you? And I really encourage you guys, go on the About page on the website. No problem, Nick. I got that. Go on the website, have a look at the About page. There's About the firm, so like Fisher Law generally, and why it opened and everything else. And then there's individual write-ups on me and Gurbajnik and Carla. And then Jerusalem is joining us on August 9th, and her write-up will be up there. So we're a small firm, and we only do immigration and refugee law. So I hope that answers enough. Anything else, Nick? Just let me know. I know lots of people came in later, so don't worry about it. That's fine. And it is important to know the difference, right? Who you're dealing with in your own country, who you're dealing with in Canada. You know, what level are they? What are they doing? What are they telling you? It's really important to investigate. Really important to ask questions. Don't be shy. If someone's starting to get angry at you because you're asking questions about their experience or about their clients or about, I mean, we can't say who our clients are. We're bound, lawyers are bound to confidentiality. But, you know, if somebody starts getting mad at you because you're questioning who they are or what they do for a living or what they've done before, that's a problem, right? Like, that's an issue. So keep your wits about you, be smart, ask lots of questions, stay safe. You know, this is all really important.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, guys, I'm going to be going off. It's 20 to 12. I've got a motor on, but it's been lovely, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. We are so privileged to have you. We are so happy. So I'm going to leave your details down the description box so they can contact you. So another question, do you charge if they want to, they just want to ask questions or something like that?
Yeah. So if they're just like, people think they have simple questions and then it takes half an hour to answer the question. So they're not always simple questions. We do consultations. So they're paid consultations. They're $100 Canadian for a consultation. We take documents, we give you a questionnaire, we analyze your situation, we give you advice, and we give you suggestions. So that 1 hour, of advice and suggestions and what you could do next and all those kinds of things is really valuable. And you will also see, of course, if you look at other people's consultations, some people do free consultations for sure, which is great for them. We don't, because we give legal advice, suggestions, and next steps during those consultations. So it's not just here, I'll answer a couple of your questions. It's here's what you can do next. Here's what we can do for you next, right? Here's what you could do on your own. So there's a lot of value in the consultation. So yes, our consultations are charged, just so you're all aware of that. And I'm very upfront about that. I am, the best place for, general, just like, I want to know about this thing, is to get on the IRCC website. It really is, because a lot of the times, your situation, a lot of the questions here, can I do this? It's like, well, you can, depending on your education, your experience, your English level, your age, your family situation, your money, right? So it isn't just, can I do this? That's not the question, right? If you are serious about coming to Canada and you want to work with a law firm who will work with you to come to Canada, then we are the right fit, right? There are lots of places in the world to bounce little ideas back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Most of the time, I warn you now, if people are giving you a huge amount of advice on this much information from you, they don't know what they're doing. They need to know your education, your skills, your money, your travel history, your criminal history, all kinds of things about you before they can give you any really valuable information. So be careful out there. Yeah. If I choose to come to Canada under a work permit versus I can under PR, would I be missing out on any benefits, Nick? No, there's different streams, right? And sometimes it's easier for people, especially if they're lower skilled. So if you're not a high skilled or professional, if you're a lower skilled person, it might be easier to come in as a temporary foreign worker in a factory, right? To do something you've done before. Say you work in a factory in your home country. Well, you might be able to get a job with an LMIA holder employer in Canada in a factory. So that will be much easier for you than trying to apply as an unskilled worker for a PR like that, which may not really ever happen because you're not going to have the points, right? For the express entry program, which is mostly for skilled workers, you won't have enough points to be either to be eligible, or you might be eligible, but you're never going to be pulled out of the pool. Remember, there's two sets to the express entry process. One is your eligibility. That's the first assessment, so you can get into the pool. But then once you're in the pool, you're not going to get pulled if you don't have enough points. So there's two things we have to look at there. So no, there's no matter how you're coming to Canada, it will be an advantage because you're coming to Canada. The trick is to get here, to get the right program, to get the right people helping you, to get the right fit, to get the immigration officer to see the box and see how you fit within or around that box. That's the trick, right? So yeah, and some things take longer. Right? Some programs take longer to get into. Some paths to permanent residency or to citizenship are just longer, but it doesn't mean you don't get there. It just means it's going to take longer than another program, right? So it all depends. Fee charge, guys, all the fees are on the website. All the fees are there. Every single program, all the consultation, all the fees, every fee is on the website. Go have a look.
So which is the fastest route to Canada that you can advise them?
If you're a doctor who's trained as a doctor, who's working as a doctor, whose wife's a doctor, whose kids are under school age, if you're around 35 years old, you have family already in Canada, you have an 8 on your IELTS, there you go. That's the quickest way to get to Canada.
And a student as well. Also student?
Student visa can be fast. You just have to get the visa. You have to get the permit. You have to get the study permit.
Yeah.
So it's fast, but it's hard to get. Yeah. But it's fast.
Yeah.
And student, 20 years old, 18 years old, coming into an undergraduate program with the highest grades in their high school. Yes. Right? For sure.
Yeah.
So, but not all of us are those people. So what we do is we find ways for everybody else to get to Canada.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah. So, guys, you can just contact. I will leave the links down, everything, so that you guys can contact, because I know everyone has different situations, right? Everyone is different, so she can advise you what pathway to use and what's best for you, what suits you. But be informed, she's gonna charge some fee, right? Mm-hmm. That's true, right?
That is true.
So it's just $100. And then you can make your decision from there, which way to go, right?
Yeah. It's basically a small service that we offer, that's just, here, we can give you a really brief overview of possibilities.
Yeah. So someone is asking, where are your other offices located?
We have one office, and it's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Yeah. So does Fisher Law help provide new immigrants with jobs?
No.
Or do you help your clients get PR and work permits and refugee status?
Yes. No, we don't get jobs for people. Yes, we don't help you get status. We help you apply so you can get status. We don't give status. at all, but we assist you to do your applications.
So someone is asking if you have an office in Kenya.
I do not have an office in Kenya. Please have a look at the website, guys. Yeah, I think all of these end questions, location, contact, price, all those kinds of things, all of it is listed on the website. So I hope to see you guys online again at some point. Yes, hopefully Cynthia and I will do a few of these kind of chats in the coming year, and I'll meet you all again. But I've got to get going. I've got a meeting at noon.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Any parting shots?
Really just be vigilant, you guys. Be careful. Ask all the questions. Remember, your immigration professional is working for you, not the other way around. They are a service provider and you are paying for that service. So make sure you're getting the service you need.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great time wherever you are in the world. It was lovely to see you.
Yes, thank you so much. And we sure will be making more of this, and then we can know how far we've gotten. Thank you so much, Rowan.
Perfect. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Bye. Guys, you had everything. Weekly, for sure, we're gonna be making more of this, so that you guys please contact her. I'm gonna leave her details down there, and then everyone is different. Everyone has a different program. You have a different need, so she's gonna advise you on what to do. Which program suits your education, which program is faster for you, right? She's based in Calgary. She has an office here in Calgary, and then we want to make sure just one person comes through her, and then it's gonna be so helpful. For sure, we are gonna be making more of this, so that we keep being updated every time. We keep knowing what's next. So I applied for jobs last week, but till now I have not received any reply. How long does it take? Because there's a Vini, there's a backlog. It's a fast come, fast base. The first one will be fast. So they go, the Canadian IRCC, it's a fast come, fast serve. So usually they will attend to you when your time comes. You just keep waiting. Last week is so close. Usually they will take even months, sometimes weeks, sometimes months to answer you back. So don't lose hope, Vinny. Don't lose hope. Just keep waiting, because it's a backlog. So many people have applied, not just one people. Yeah. So can you guys hear me? Otherwise, thank you so much. I'll come to the end of this. I'll leave everything down there. Thank you for joining, and see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. I told you guys I'm going to be bringing guests and guests and guests. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, guys. Oh, thank you so much. See you. Okay.